Andrew Phipps here. Faith, Family, Freedom. Thank you for joining us today. I hope this broadcast is one that you will thoroughly have enlightenment, that you will benefit from what we present. Perhaps we can add some enlightenment. Maybe we can perhaps present something that maybe might cause us all to think a little bit more cognitively, individually, and you are the reason for the broadcast. Faith, family, freedom. These are three tremendous words in anybody's language. Let's get into our program for today. Hello, friends. This is Andrew Phipps. Henry Clay, a United States Senator and Congressman from Kentucky, January the 29th, 1850, said this: "The Constitution of the United States was made not merely for the generation that then existed, but for posterity, unlimited, undefined, endless, perpetual posterity." That's why in the Constitution we have the preamble that says, "We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, and promote the general welfare, do secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity." I'm glad today that we have a document that we define as our basis of law in this country, that we are a government of laws and not of men. And the Constitution is not to be put on the level with the Bible, but it's to be used as an instrument that says, here is how our government operates, and here are the rights that you have as enumerated in the first 10 amendments. And it even goes on to say that it couldn't list all of our rights because they would be too numerous. A great document. And this is Andrew Phipps, and I hope that you have a great day. Andrew Phipps here today on Faith, Family, Freedom. Let me just present a little extra for our monologue today. I truly believe that President Donald Trump is being as effectively as he can be with the limitations from the radical left and those Democrats in Congress that want to object, obstruct, and try to eviscerate the president on every angle. Someone said the other day on Facebook that you would have better luck of trying to get a parrot to speak French than you would have of dislodging these libtards, as Rush Limbaugh would have called them, and get them away from their deviant thinking. You know, the philosophy, the ideology of the Democratic Party today is 10 exits left of normal. People reject that absurdity and the exceptionalism to Christian values when you promote another sex, another gender, when you start saying that the LGBTQ radical agenda ought to be subsidized, when you're saying that terrorists ought to be able to stay in the country with benefits, people that murder, rape, pillage, destroy, kill, something is wrong with that. And I think what they are doing today, the modern Democratic Party, is self-destructing. I really believe if the common sense of America, and I believe in that, prevails, if we can get people of goodwill to think outside the box and say, what is best for my children, our grandchildren? What is best for our communities? And this idea of destroying Teslas, destroying cars that we associate with Elon Musk, how ridiculous can we be? I mean, if you want to protest something, I suppose as long as it's peaceable. But when a political party identifies with Hamas, when we can condone the leaving of people in Afghanistan, American soldiers, and then leaving billions of dollars of our military equipment behind, something is wrong. And I hope and pray that enough common sense and God-given ability will prevail, that there has to be enough people in America that want what's decent and not what's profane. We don't want to appeal to the prurient interests. That's what the Supreme Court said. But we need to appeal to the God-given common sense of the American person who believes in doing what's right and believes that we ought to preserve our freedoms. Those are the people I'm helping and hoping to encourage. Hello, friends. This is Andrew Phipps, and I believe that we need all of the materials that we can gather to help us as we combat the attack upon our faith, our family, and our freedoms. We need to be educated, and I have a handbook that has been given to state legislatures. It's been given to members of Congress. It's a colorfully created handbook that has graphs, charts, quotes, and different things in it. You'll be impressed with it. And also we have DVDs. We have CDs that are God and Country, Return to Greatness, and Faith, Family, and Freedom, some other wonderful materials. See the contact information on the screen. Be sure that you order some because these will be of a tremendous help. They are supplemental materials to help you in your Christian walk. And may God bless.
Our special guests are going to sing for us, and Buck, you just never know how happy we are to have you here on the program today, and we're going to be having you back in the very, very near future. We always like to have the Rambos. You know, getting the Rambos to come sing on the program is not as easy as it might seem. They have such a busy schedule, and we were fortunate indeed to have them here today. Here's the Rambos singing what?
Build my mansion next door to Jesus.
Build my mansion next door to Jesus.
Until I finally reach home, my mansion's yonder on those hills of glory. Oh, I hope my mansion sits right next to God's throne. Oh, build my mansion next door to Jesus, ever teach me of heaven. And the very first Lord that ever tell me about a man called Jesus. Build my mansion next door to Jesus. Oh yeah, and tell the angels I'm coming home. It doesn't matter who lives around me, just so my mansion sits near the throne.
The inspiration sang for you now. I stand upon the rock of ages.
When the angry winds are blowing and the storm is all around, how sweet it is in knowing that a refuge I have found. I stand upon the blessed holy rock of ages, and say within his shelter I will be. The wind may blow, and the angry storm all around me rages upon the rock of ages I shall stand. This rock is Christ my Savior, my soul he will defend, thus gaily in his favor, on his promise I depend. I stand upon the blessed holy rock of ages, and say within his shelter I will be. The wind may blow, and the angry storm all around me rages upon the rock of ages I shall stand. I stand upon the blessed holy rock of ages, and say within his shelter I will be. The wind may blow, and the angry storm all around me rages upon the rock of ages I shall stand. I stand upon the blessed holy rock of ages, and say within his shelter I will be. The wind may blow, and the angry storm all around me rages upon the rock of ages I shall stand.
Hello, friends. This is Andrew Phipps with Phipps-Faith-Family-Freedom, and we're so happy that you have joined us today. Let me give you a good announcement. We are now being broadcast on Spotify, and we hope that you'll find us there. We want to have a lot of very interesting guests. We have had some super guests on our podcast heretofore, and we're looking forward to having people from all walks of life that we think can help us and bring something positive to the narrative of faith, family, and freedom. Look for us on Spotify. This is Andrew Phipps.
Hey friend, this is Joni Phipps with Kinsman and Company, and I design and create King James scripture products for personal and church use. If you're looking for King James gifts or items for your church, please check out our website. It's kinsmanandcompany.shop. And if you've shopped with us before, we want to thank you so much for your patronage. By shopping with Kinsman and Company, you are helping to support missionaries worldwide. And if you've shopped before and you haven't been there in a while, come look at our new products. Thanks.
Andrew Phipps here today. I certainly applaud Senator Ted Cruz out of Texas. I think Senator Cruz has been a stalwart. He has been in the trenches and has defended Christian constitutional rights. He is a tremendous legal scholar, and I was able to host a brunch for his father, Pastor Raphael Cruz. And Senator Cruz, I've interviewed him in D.C., and I think just about any senator there would tell you that he is a skilled debater, very eloquent, and he's able to articulate the position from a constitutional and a Christian perspective about as effectively as anybody I know. It's an honor to present Senator Ted Cruz of the great state of Texas.
Democrats today hate democracy. Democrats today are angry at the voters for re-electing Donald Trump and electing a Republican Senate and a Republican House, and they engaged in lawfare to stop democracy from operating. Understand, this is the second phase of lawfare, second chart. This is the second phase of lawfare. Now that their efforts to indict President Trump and stop the voters from re-electing him have failed, they're going and seeking out individual radical judges to try to shut down policies, and they are forum shopping like crazy. Give me any loon judge put on the bench by Obama or Biden who disagrees with a policy. We just saw a judge flagrantly ignore U.S. immigration law concerning TPS being revoked. U.S. law explicitly said there's no judicial review for that, but hey, they found a judge who says, you know what? We, the Democrat Party, we are the party of illegal aliens. We are the party of murderers and rapists and gang members, and the Democrat Party exists here to fight to keep murderers and rapists and gang members in your communities. There's a reason the Democrat Party is at 26% approval nationwide, because they put radical policies ahead of rule of law. Nationwide injunctions are an abuse of power. It is the judiciary acting as policy deciders, and it is incumbent on this committee and this body to rein in the abuse of power from these unelected radical judges who are trying to overturn the election because they disagree with what the voters decided.
Thank you, Senator Cruz.
Andrew Phipps here. Several years ago, Phyllis Schlafly, a great conservative advocate for the independence of the judiciary, wrote a book that basically said that our judges and many times had become tyrants in trying to legislate from the bench. And I think we see classic examples of that today by those rogue judges that want to make it almost impossible for our president, Donald Trump, to execute and to lead our nation. I think it's a violation of constitutional principles where we have a separation of powers, where we have a division of powers, and where we have a legislature, a judiciary, and an executive. These judges, they're not elected. How can they come up and make decisions at the appellate level or whatever, or at the state Supreme Court level, that they have no authority given by the Constitution to do so? And I think if Judge Roberts would do his job, and the United States Supreme Court would take a look at some of these decisions, they would conclude in a very vigorous way that these judges are overstepping their authority to tell the president to turn a plane around and bring back people that need to be locked up or maybe need to face the death penalty for the crimes that they have committed, raping and killing and pillaging and destroying lives and property, and people that obviously are at best ought to be institutionalized. To say that we need to turn the plane around and bring those people back in here, that's ludicrous. That's nonsense. I mean, these people are not people that you associate with a Sunday school group. These people would kill on a whim. They would do it regardless. And so for the president to stand up against them, and although I've been put all the eggs in one basket with the Wisconsin Supreme Court election, I wish the people there would have made a different decision. But we still have to have a majority in the House of Representatives for the president to carry forth his agenda. And these liberals are. Somebody said the other day, they said you could teach a parrot to speak or sing in French easier than you could get these liberals to change their opinions. It's based upon nonsense. It's based upon a violation of all that is decent. And that's what the ideology of the Democrat Party has turned into. Nonsense, doing things that violate common sense, that violate values that we've always embraced as Americans. It was Pat Buchanan that said, in a half a lifetime, many Americans have seen their God dethroned, their values assaulted, their country invaded, and themselves demonized as bigots and extremists for holding on to beliefs that Americans have held for generations. Pat Buchanan postulated that in his book, The Death of the West, and I think it's still accurate and true for today's moment. God bless you. Dear friends, this is Andrew Phipps with Faith, Family, and Freedom. A cultural war is raging, and how it ends will have grave consequences for me and you. It appears that those who are striving to remove the ancient landmarks are succeeding, or at least they are getting the attention and notoriety. You and I have no choice. We must resist at all costs. Never in my lifetime have I seen such an attack upon our Christian heritage and values. The United States Constitution means little or nothing to these folks as long as they can promote their own agendas of extreme socialism and the most bizarre attacks upon all that we deem good and wholesome. Truth is rejected by those who hate the truth, and they hate America and its exceptionalism. Their goal is to make America into what it never has been. To these leftist radicals, their hatred of personal liberties and the freedom to practice the faith of our fathers are the narratives they chant nightly upon our so-called news channels. I know you agree. That's why I'm appealing to you today to join me in the fight to do all that we can do to preserve our heritage for our children and their children. So many of you have been so kind and allowed me to speak in your pulpits. But these television outlets give us an opportunity to possibly reach thousands, maybe millions. If you believe our ministry to be credible, would you consider helping us financially? A monthly support, a one-time offering, or whatever you can do would be so greatly appreciated. The need is now, and it is urgent. I am willing to do what I can do to speak truth to error as best as I can determine it. There is no need for us to talk about the deplorable conditions in which we find ourselves today if we're not willing to do something about it. Am I able to count on your support? I hope so. Would you please pray for our ministry and pray that God would give us discernment and provide the means that we can stand in the gap in these last days as we try to promote the principles of Christian living and the faith of our fathers. And this is Andrew Phipps. If you'd like to have any of our products, we do have a Faith, Family, and Freedom handbook. We have some DVDs. We did one with Pastor Jim Scudder in Washington, D.C. a little over a year ago. It's called Can You Find God in D.C.? I think you will enjoy the beautiful programming that was done in the Jefferson and Lincoln Memorials and other places. If you want any of our products, just call us or get in touch with us as would be indicated there on the screen. Andrew Phipps with Faith, Family, Freedom Ministries. I think it's very appalling to witness what we see today by some of the so-called media people that were around President Biden, who are now acknowledging that they were not forthright, that they were not bold in telling us the nature of his competency, the lack of it, that he was not making decisions, that he really wasn't actually on the job, that he was just simply echoing what he was told to do. And I think that for these media people now, that we obviously, it wasn't Joe Biden that was making decisions. It probably, in fact, was Obama and people like Kamala Harris and others who, you might say, a coup d'etat, were making the president like a pawn on the chessboard, or trying to make him like the person in the seat that of the person that's pulling the strings, the little guy there that's sitting on the lap of the person. And I think it's just straight hypocrisy and a betrayal of integrity for them to say, well, the president was in a diminutive condition, that his competency wasn't what it ought to be. And we know, or we've been told, and it seems to be very accurate, that the auto pen no doubt probably signed a lot of the documents, maybe even the pardons that the president issued. And so I think there's more to be revealed. There is more that will be coming forth, and hopefully we can get a better picture of what we have already suspected, and that it was a giant cover-up. And this is Andrew Phipps.